The METUS Tech Show.
Welcome to the METUS Tech Show, a show for HVAC professionals by HVAC professionals.
The METUS Tech Show.
So I went to a concert the other night with my wife and went and seen Alanis Morissette and Joan Jett.
Nice.
And let me tell you, Joan Jett stole the show.
Really?
Amazing. 65 years old, and she can sing her butt off. It was amazing. But we walked around, and they had a bunch of food for sale and stuff. We got a pretzel. But one thing that caught my eye was deep fried Oreos. I had to try them.
At a concert?
And yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
This is Great Woods or Xfinity Center in Mansfield. It's surrounded by woods. It's kind of a outdoor,
Okay.
half-covered venue, grassy area up top, and they got a bunch of stuff going on. There's like pre-parties before the concert,
Nice.
so you can go there and drink, and you can go there and eat and just have a blast. But deep fried Oreos, I had to try them. I got to say, I wasn't disappointed. They were
They're delicious.
They were
Reminds me
amazing.
of fair food. Right?
Yeah. So I figured I wanted to ask you guys, deep fried, what is some deep fried stuff that you've had, some unique deep fried dishes?
Well, for me, mine would be deep fried Twinkies. Before
Yeah,
they
I've had
changed the
those.
recipe, because I don't like the Twinkies.
Original. When they used to use real sugar.
Right? Yeah. So that would be mine. Deep fried Twinkies. That was
Deep fried Twinkies.
delicious. Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah. That would be mine. Because what they're big here in the South, to me, is deep fried pickles. They're not bad. I'm not really a big pickle person by itself, but I'll eat a deep fried pickle.
Yeah, deep fried pickles are pretty good.
Yeah. That would be mine.
A buddy of mine bought a deep fryer, and
Did he go crazy with it?
yeah, he invited everybody over his house and told everybody to bring something to deep fry in his.
Oh,
in-
they
in
have
his-
deep fried parties.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is what, and so people were bringing like Snickers bars, and he had this pancake batter, and you would just stick whatever it is you brought with you and into the pancake batter and throw it in the deep fryer, and yeah, it was amazing.
Okay, now a deep fried Snickers. Now you have my attention. Because that, first of all, deep fried anything. I actually saw something on YouTube that they deep fried water. Don't ask me how they did it, but they did it. They deep fried water. I think Bryn mentioned offline deep fried ice cream. I've seen that. That's pretty good. But I mean, what
Deep fried
can't
water.
you throw in a fryer
What
and not
is
make
deep
it
fried
taste good?
water? Let's go back to that.
That sounds like a face full of grease to me. You put water and grease, and you're getting
You know what?
splattered.
Oh,
You might as well deep
Somebody
fry air.
did it.
I mean,
Some YouTuber did it as a deep fried water. He put some type of membrane around it, and he put it in batter, and he deep fried it and cut it open. It was just,
Yeah, it's
scalding
healthy.
water. I think
It's healthy.
it's more of a
you
weapon.
would, you would go into sogness right there. Soggy. That's all I'm thinking. Water.
It's just a weapon, I think, more than food.
Yeah.
The deep fried-
Actually, I just got back from Dallas, and I went to this place called the Twisted Root Burger Company. I don't know if you guys have tried that when you've gone down there.
No.
They make like all these different types of burgers. The one I got was called the Freshman, and it was a burger with bacon, fried egg, French fries on the burger.
Whoa. Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Fried
You
egg.
had fried egg?
Yeah.
Fried egg? What?
This is the guy that doesn't like embryos. But
Listen, I'm trying to get my protein.
I
But
knew
what
it.
I did have on the side was it was like a big thing of fried vegetables. It was like $10, but it had fried sweet potato, it had French fries, it had fried onion rings, it had fried green beans, and it had fried carrots. It was awesome.
Fried carrots.
Wicked good.
now,
Never
about 7 years ago, when I started here at Mitsubishi, one of the first trips that I took with Paul was to Dallas, and we went to the Hard Eights, and someone ordered fried okra. And I said, what the heck is an okra? All right. But I've been ordering them since. Anytime I can get fried okra, I think it's delicious.
Yeah.
They're great. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but
Nope.
I thought it was fantastic.
But if you go to Marlowe's right down the street from the office in Swanee, they have deep fried asparagus instead of asparagus fries. Those are pretty good. You deep fry anything, it automatically makes it taste good.
No,
I
it
bet
does
you.
not.
I would be willing to try deep fried Brussels sprouts. No, I wouldn't. Strike that from the record.
Now, in Georgia, maybe I think this was last year sometime, we went and tried a barbecue place in Georgia, and I forgot the name of it.
Oh, in Lawrenceville, right?
Yeah, in
You were with
Lawrenceville.
the team. Foggy Bottom.
Yes. I ordered the deep fried ribs.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Those were deadly. Those were deadly. They had the crunch of the outside of the rib, tender rib meat in there. It was
I'd say I've never had a fried rib.
deep fried ribs. They were really good. Anyway, welcome to the METUS Tech Show. Paul has a big announcement today.
Yes, a couple of episodes ago, I said we'd be having a really, really big announcement.
Really big.
And I am very happy and very pleased to announce that Ralph Wolf, formerly a DSG, member of the Diamond Service Group, is now a Mitsubishi employee. He is now working with us as one of our trainers. He's on our team. He's in the Orlando office. I happen to be in Orlando today. This is his first day starting, so I came to meet him here. I can't have him on the podcast yet. I told him he has to gain about 30 pounds, then we can put him on the podcast.
That sounds about right.
I know he needs to gain some weight first, but Ralph hasn't done it in a couple of years, but he's well known in the YouTube world, and he's been on our podcast before as a DSG. He's wicked smart, as we say back home, knows a lot of stuff. He's a trainer, customer support, tech support. He's done all of that stuff, so I'm just happy to announce he's now on our team.
Yeah.
Working for you, Steve.
Yeah, he's YouTube famous. He's Instagram famous, Facebook famous. He's on Farmers Only if you want to look him up. But big round of applause for Ralph.
He just moved up to the Orlando area. He was living up in Georgia before, and we went out to lunch. And of course, I know he was from Georgia because when they asked him what he wanted to drink, he goes, "Y'all got any sweet tea?"
Was it the y'all or the sweet tea that got you?
It's the sweet tea because
Sweet tea.
That's just the thing. I haven't told you about Austin the first time he came up to Boston. We're in an Irish pub, and this lady had a very raspy voice, like she smoked. She was a smoker, sounded like it. And Austin's like, "Y'all got any sweet tea?" And she's like, "We ain't got that, honey."
Yeah, you ain't getting that in Boston.
Yeah,
I was amazed.
They give you iced tea and sugar. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah, coming to Georgia many times as I do, and all the gallons of sweet tea and barrels of sweet tea everywhere. It's unsweetened tea and sweet tea.
It's very sweet for me. I always get half and half sweet tea, half not a regular tea, and that balances it out for me.
I like the unsweet.
So,
all right,
today's episode is going to be on the MAC-334 controller. And some of you out there might be saying, what the heck is a MAC-334? It's
buckle up.
Yeah, it's get ready for this one. So the MAC-334 is such a robust controller because it seems like whoever invented this controller had everything in mind. Basically, the MAC-334 is a CN105 device that allows an M-series unit or system that does not have all of the options that a P-series system would have. It allows all of these options on that M-series unit. And when we say M-series, we're not going to get into every specific model, but there are some models that have a backup heat option. There are some models that do not. They do not have backup heat. They don't have the ability to humidify. They don't have MNet. They don't have the ability to have a remote on and off feature or a status feature when a system's in fault or when the system is running in a running state. Now, the MAC-334 allows for all of this.
Yeah, and before some of you, the listeners would know the MAC-334 before our new SDW controller came out, our wire controller. This is how we would, if you wanted a wire controller for M series, you would have to get the MAC-334.
Right. Now, which is another feature, right? We can have a wired, because M series units, indoor units, do not have a TB15
correct
connection for a wired
true
controller.
M series, right?
Yeah.
Not S series. We're talking about true M series.
True M series. Any indoor unit
Right.
that starts with an M, right?
Right, and if you wanted to sense temperature in the room rather than at the return, you'd get an MA. You put this on there. MA is a wired remote controller. Now you can sense at the MA, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, you would have to. You have to hit a dip switch on the MAC-334 to make that happen. But correct.
Right.
Yeah. So there are two banks of dip switches, micro mini dip
mini
switches.
little
They're tiny, little micro mini dip switches on this device that allow for different features, different contact positions, normally open, normally closed. On whatever you're applying, you can change the behavior of that contact. So backup heating, humidifier control also allows for grouping of M series style units. But here's the catch. With grouping, we would need a MAC-334 for each indoor unit to make that work. But at that point, you can address each indoor unit and give it its own unique address and have a group of indoor units, which you can't do with M series
No.
as it stands, right? The only grouping we can do is city multi.
Correct. Yeah. So say if you have 5 heads, indoor units, the first, you will each indoor head will have its own MAC-334, and then the first head, that address would be 0, and then the next one would be address 1, 2, 3, and then 4.
Yep.
And then that's your total of 5 units.
Yeah.
And then from there you land your daisy chain your wires.
Yeah. So if you're familiar with addressing P series users, now we're not talking about MNet addressing. We're talking about addressing the system itself, like the P series. If we had multiple P series systems in a let's say a data room and running off of one controller, we would address each P series system starting at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 16.
It'd be the same approach.
Same idea.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So what else can we do with the MAC-334?
Well, one thing I do want to just discuss quickly is when you're looking at a MAC-334, and Steve, you did mention it does plug into CN105. So anywhere there's CN105, we can use this MAC-334. And essentially it's about, 2 feet of wire, and then it's a small box. So that would get mounted somewhere with the indoor unit. And then that's where we can make all of our connections from. The only thing that we didn't mention when it comes to MA controllers, and we talk about grouping and all those things, is that if we are using a MAC-334 and hooking up an MA controller to it, it does not provide the 12 volts DC for that controller. So something we'd have to be aware of is providing that 12 volts.
Correct.
So you need a 12 volts transformer.
Yeah. So we
12
do.
volts DC.
But here's the thing. We do get some 12 volts off of CN105.
Yes.
But this is where the contractor has to be very careful, because that 12 volts is enough to power a simple MA, but not enough to power a
touch
MA or the
Deluxe.
the PAR 40.
Yeah.
Right. The MHK2, that's the one that slipped my mind just now.
Yeah.
The MHK2
off of seeing 505 off the MAC-334.
or the MHK1. So we have to provide a separate 12 volt DC power supply for that. So just be aware of the type of controller that you're attaching to this MAC-334, and does it need additional voltage or a separate voltage supply? Because again, our M series indoor units, our CN105, will only supply so much of a 12 volt DC signal.
Now, what about when we send that 12 volt signal, say, to auxiliary heat? Would we need to supply that transformer there?
At that point, no.
No. Okay.
No, because we're just opening and closing a set of contacts.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. All right.
So when I need the MAC-334, let's say I have a city multi job. I'm putting a city multi system in a commercial building, and I just got a one M series unit that I'm running for whatever reason. Will I need this to give it MNet so
Yes.
I could then connect it to a central controller?
Yes, any M series unit besides the MXZ ported, any M series system at that point, if you want MNet on that system, you would need the MAC-334 to make that happen. And that gets daisy chained through TB7 of the outdoor, or TB in the daisy chain, TB3 of that city multi-system. Now the contractor is able to put that on a central controller, take control of it,
And see it.
it.
Yeah.
Right? So
And you can also, I know P series has a MNet adapter kit, correct? You can also put a MAC-334 on P-Series for an MNET adapter if they wish to. There's different ways to go through that.
Right. Right.
Now,
Yes.
the MAC-334 is the successor to the MAC-333, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
So what's the difference between for those who are familiar with the MAC-333, what's the difference now that we've upgraded, or not upgraded, but the next generation is the 334? What are some of the key differences?
One was the dual set auto point set, right?
Yeah. So now it gives the ability for dual set points.
Yep.
Yep.
And then adding you can have the touch MA on the new 334. We were not able to do on the 333, the touch MA. So we're able to do that with 334.
Yeah. So a couple of upgrades from the 333 to the 334. And again, this is not a lot of people know about this controller. And this is why we're doing this episode, to get the word out there that this is an option for M series, giving you all of these different options on here. What about remote start and stop of the equipment? Right.
If I'm a renter, if I have an apartment for rent and I don't want people, actually for me it would be for my kids. I should put one of these in my kids' room because they crank up the heat or crank down the air conditioning, then they leave. You know, if I could put some type of device in there that they need to put a key card in there to operate it, you know, turn it on, I could save me some more energy.
Yeah. Yeah. You can put a coin operated device on there, and if they want to use your AC at home, Paul, you can charge them.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't do that already.
Now, one thing we didn't talk about is when we add that system to an MNET daisy chain, now we can attach an ME controller,
correct,
and have an ME controller on an M series indoor unit. Now, you're not going to have all of the options that you would have on a city multi-indoor unit, but at least you have that nice looking controller. When it goes to cooling, it turns blue, goes to heat, turns red, right? But you could have, if the customer wants that option, you'd be surprised what certain customers want these options. They want to be able to group units onto one controller, or they want to add a special type of controller to that M series unit. They don't want the handheld remote. They want a wired controller. They don't want the MHK2. This is your answer.
You know, as when I taught, we teach this in our advanced controls class, right, Steve?
Yep.
When I first started here going over this product, the MAC-334, actually transitioning from 333 to a 334, I always say this is whoever thought of making this product was beat up on steroids, because like you said, it has every option that there is.
It's got every option in the world in this little box. Now, this box is, when it's closed, you can mount the box at, sealed or closed. It's got four screws that hold it closed, or you can open it up almost like a clamshell.
Correct.
And mount it that way, say above a ceiling, so that you can get to it. And there are also status lights. There are status lights that are customizable, and that blows my mind. So there's LEDs inside of the MAC-333 and 334 that will show you different pieces of information depending on how you set the dip switches on this controller. Like I said, whoever invented this and engineered this controller just had all of these things in mind when they were engineering. It's amazing.
I could actually put a coin timer in my son's room. Right? If he wants heat or air conditioning, I can make him pay for it. Put a coin timer in there that just, has an end switch that would activate a relay, or some type of end switch to call for cooling or heating.
Yeah, it's a CN 591. It would be that 3-wire connector that you'll be sending.
You're giving Paul ideas. And my shop teacher, back in high school, he had a timer and a solenoid valve on the hot water line going to the shower. So when his kids got in the shower, he would set the timer for 10 minutes or whatever it was, and solenoid would shut the hot water off. And that's it. Shower's over.
That's a great idea. I do that. I have to do that manually. I have to go into the hot water, turn off the hot water, and you'll hear them get out of there right away.
It's actually pretty smart.
Yeah. But the problem is my kids will take a cold shower. They don't care.
No.
Real quick, and one last thing on this controller is the run status. So we have the ability to send a run status signal to BMS system, a light, whatever you want to integrate that into, and you can customize how the contacts work. You can have the 12 volts be sent when the unit's in thermally running, or you could have the 12 volts sent when it shuts down. It's completely customizable.
Would that be a good example when you add like a ventilator to the system? When the system turns on, you want the ventilation unit to turn on.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, like an ERV.
Yep, exactly.
All the inputs and outputs that are available on a P-Series system, now you're getting it through this controller.
In that box.
And putting it on an M-Series unit that does not have all of those inputs and outputs.
And we land, just for those listening, you land on CN 105 at the indoor unit.
All right, so I get this. I get this box with the MAC-334. What's in the box? Am I going to use everything that's in there? But let's go through what's in there and what I'm going to use and when, just so our listeners know.
Yeah, so you may just be using the MAC-334 just to add backup heat. You want to bring on some baseboard heat when the temperature, and this uses old CN24 operation, so 4 degrees away from set point, it activates and sends 12 volts to a relay, and from there you can bring on a circulator on a boiler, a Takeo zone valve, possibly electric heat strips. At that point, the sky's the limit with what type of backup heat you want to use, or you just maybe using this to group. I doubt anybody's going to ever use every option that is on here, but anything's possible. And just to clarify, we talked about addressing and grouping, basically P-Series style addressing, but there are also MNet address styles inside of this MAC-334, so that you can, when it's connected into a MNet daisy chain, it can be, you can give that system its own indoor unit address from 1 to 50. Yep, so those dials are in there as well.
And if they're familiar with our city multi-addressing, it's still labeled the tens digit and the first digit. And then going back to grouping for the MA control, right before above that dial, it will say MA. So it's not confusing what dials used for what. So right above the dial for MA for grouping 0, 1 through 16, or 1 through 15, sorry, that's how you know you're on that. On the MA control. And then for MNet, you use the tens digit and the ones digit for that.
Well, I was just going to say, I think one of the applications that I could see this for, and even though P-Series does have its own cards, another option is just providing another option to get on MNet with a P-Series, because we oftentimes see P-Series used in commercial applications for things like critical cooling or precision cooling. Yeah. And if they're not on MNet, if you're looking at a central controller or a BMS system and you're trying to manage and monitor your equipment, that's one of the types of pieces of equipment you don't want to you want to be aware of if it does go down. And so using this MAC-334, you can get that P-Series indoor unit onto MNet. So if there was an issue, you'd be notified through your BMS or your central controller.
Nice. Good point.
And so if you didn't know, we do offer MNet kits for P-Series. And basically you'll have one MNet kit for P-Series up to 36,000 BTUs and 42,000 different MNet kit. And for the MXE ported, there's also an MNet kit. And what does that kit consist of? It's basically an MNet board, a bracket to hold the board, and that mounts right onto the existing chassis. So you'd open up the panel, mount that in there, instructions come with it, and you just plug that into the outdoor unit board. And from there, you've just added MNet to that P-Series unit, but nothing for M-Series style outdoor unit, indoor units for MNet kits. This is where the MAC-334 comes in.
The other thing that I always like to mention when we talk about those status outputs, basically we have with any P-Series the CN32 and CN51 that provide that information, and that's kind of what the MAC-334 allows us to do with M-Series. And the way I like to equate those status outputs, that 12-volt DCs that can be put out when the system is in error or when the compressor is running, is, if you guys remember, because most of us are from the Northeast except Scott, so this is going to sound like a foreign language to Scott, but do you guys ever remember when you were in a van, they used to have these red lights in people's front windows, and if their oil tank ran out, that red light would come on, and neighbors would know, hey, your oil tank's empty? Kind of a similar idea here. We can actually, it could be something as simple as a light for that output if the system goes into fault, just as a notification of, hey, something's gone wrong.
And what Brent's talking about, that what he's talking about. You do that, activate those by the dip switches.
Yeah. Yeah, they're customizable. You can have them turn off when the unit turns on. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like I said, a lot of thought was put into this controller, and it's just packed full of features. I think that just about does it on the MAC-334.
Yep. And if you guys want additional information to find this particular controller, my link drive under the controls tab.
Yeah.
And you'll find that there.
Yeah. We also come to training. Check out training at Mitsubishi Comfort. Click on For Pros and click on resources and go to training and open up a calendar with all of our training events, live training events. And I always talk about this class. It's our advanced residential controls class. It's a 1-day class. And I tell guys all the time, come to this class just for the book.
It's very active class.
The book for that class is, and it's very active.
We actually do a hands-on for this the MAC-334.
We do hands-on for so that class shows and showcases every controller available for that system. So the class consists of every controller for a residential system under the sun. And you're not sitting there looking at a PowerPoint for 8 hours. You're actually up out of your seat, hooking up Kumo Cloud and setting up backup heat on Kumo Cloud, running through the Simple MA controller, the PAR 40 controller, the MAC-334,
Procon,
the Procon, and even we start with the most basic of a handheld remote and how that works, and talk about all the options in a handheld remote. And like I said, the book for that class is just amazing because everything that is spread across all of our manuals, we consolidated all of that and put all of that information, function settings, request codes, instructions for the controllers. They're all in this one book. It's a great 1-day class. Definitely check it out.
And if you happen to go to one of, what the guy's name we just hired?
Mr. Ralph Wolf?
Yeah, Ralph. If you go to one of Ralph's classes, bring him some fried Twinkies. We need him to put some weight on.
All right. Did you take him for lunch today, Paul?
Hello?
Yeah, I did. And I was very disappointed. He ordered a cheeseburger, and he ordered it well done. And there's no flavor in any meat that's well done. There's nothing.
That makes a big difference, because when you texted me and said Ralph just ordered something well done, I was thinking of a steak. I said, well, it's, a well done steak, depending on how it's cooked, can still be good, but a burger,
no. Burger, it's
a well done steak cannot be good. You cannot judge a cut of meat when it's well done. You might as well take a sole of a shoe and put it in your smoker.
I'm going to have to disagree with that. It depends on the chef. If a chef gets angry, he wants it well done, I'll give it to him well done. It'll burn the hell out of it just because he's upset. No, you can cook a good, well done steak.
I disagree.
Yeah.
You just have to use egg as the binder for a well done burger, right, Paul?
You might as well put eggs and Brussels sprouts and eggplant on it.
What about a deep fried steak?
Oh,
there's an idea.
Wait a minute.
They call that country fried?
country fried.
Okay, yeah.
Damn,
country
Brent,
fried
you were on
steak.
that one.
Good, Brent.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's gonna be thin.
It was on it.
All right.
Okay, did you guys even notice that I dropped off there? I lost connection. I dropped off for the middle of the podcast.
I was
Notice.
wondering where you went.
We missed it.
Thanks for noticing.
All right, guys. We'll see you on the next one.